Have you ever wondered why some people seem to navigate life's challenges with ease even in their golden years, while others, no matter how hard they try, find themselves overwhelmed, whether it's with their health, relationships, or even everyday decisions? Now, here's a surprising question for you. Could playing dumb actually save your life? It might sound strange, even counterintuitive, but today we're going to uncover a fascinating truth backed by science and shared by leading experts. You'll learn why, in certain situations, choosing not to be the smartest person in the room can lead to better health, stronger relationships, and a more peaceful mind. Think about it. How often do we push ourselves to always have the answers, to prove we're still sharp, capable, and in control? But what if I told you that stepping back, letting go, and leaning into curiosity could be the most empowering thing you'll ever do? Stick with me, because in this video we'll reveal the science behind this counterintuitive idea, share real strategies you can use, and debunk some common myths that might be holding you back. Plus, you'll discover simple changes you can make today that could significantly impact your overall well-being. Stay with us until the end, because this might just be the most surprising and life-changing advice you've ever heard. And hey, if you know someone who could use a fresh perspective, share this video with them too. Let's take a moment to think about the world we live in. It's fast-paced, competitive, and often feels like a constant battle to prove our worth, no matter how old we are. For many seniors, this pressure doesn't just vanish with age. In fact, it can sometimes feel even greater. Does this sound like you? Maybe it's that lingering expectation to always be the one with the answers, when your grandkids ask tough questions, or feeling the need to show your friends and family that you're still sharp and capable. Or maybe it's that instinct to take charge in situations because you've always been the problem solver in the room. These moments might seem small, but over time they can take a toll on your mind, your relationships, and even your body. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine this. You're in a family gathering and a heated discussion starts about, let's say, the latest health trend. You feel compelled to speak up, to share your opinion or experience, even though you're not quite sure about the facts. Why? Because you don't want anyone to think you're out of touch or incapable. But instead of feeling confident, you end up feeling drained, frustrated, and maybe even a little embarrassed if things don't go the way you expected. Sound familiar? This pressure to always know doesn't just apply to social situations. It can creep into every aspect of life, like hesitating to ask your doctor questions during appointments because you're afraid of looking uninformed, or feeling like you need to take on household responsibilities that might be too physically demanding just to show you can still do it. Over time, these habits build up, and they can have some serious consequences. Here's the thing, always striving to appear in control or smart can increase stress levels, and we all know how harmful stress can be. It's not just about feeling overwhelmed. It can impact your blood pressure, weaken your immune system, and even affect your memory and cognitive function over time, and emotionally. It can create unnecessary tension in your relationships, make you feel isolated, or leave you battling with self-doubt. On top of that, constantly pushing yourself to be on top of everything can make it harder to adapt to new situations or changes in life. It might make you less open to seeking help when you really need it, or prevent you from learning something new because you're worried about looking silly. It's like carrying around an invisible weight, and the truth is you don't have to. But let's take a moment to ask ourselves some honest questions. How often do you feel like you're pushing yourself too hard just to keep up appearances? Have you ever hesitated to admit you didn't know something because it felt uncomfortable? And how often do you ignore the signs that your body or mind might need a break, all because you're worried about what others might think? These are questions many seniors grapple with, even if they don't talk about it openly. And the truth is, you're not alone. It's a shared experience, a silent challenge that so many face but rarely acknowledge. And here's the thing. It doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. In fact, embracing the idea that you don't always have to know the answers can be one of the most freeing and life-saving decisions you'll ever make. In the next part of this video, we're going to explore why this pressure exists and, more importantly, how you can break free from it. You'll discover the surprising science behind why playing dumb in certain situations isn't just okay. It's actually one of the smartest things you can do for your health and happiness. So, does any of this sound familiar? If it does, take a deep breath, because you're about to learn a whole new way to approach life, one that's lighter, healthier, and much more fulfilling. And if you're ready to dive deeper, let me know in the comments. What's one situation where you felt this pressure to prove yourself? Sharing your story might just inspire someone else to start their journey to freedom too. So, why exactly does this pressure to always know it all feel so ingrained in us? And why is it so harmful, physically, mentally, and emotionally? Let's dive into the science and uncover the surprising truth behind why playing dumb might actually be one of the smartest things you can do. First, let's talk about the brain. As we age, it's natural for some cognitive changes to occur. Processing speed may slow down slightly, and our brains might take a bit longer to recall certain details. But here's the good news. Research shows that the brain is incredibly adaptable. This is thanks to something called neuroplasticity, a fancy term that simply means your brain has the ability to reorganize and grow new connections even in your later years. However, there's a catch. To tap into this amazing ability, your brain needs two things: reduce stress and opportunities to learn without fear of failure. Now, let's bring in stress, one of the biggest culprits here. When you're constantly trying to prove yourself, it triggers a stress response in your body. Think about the last time you felt pressured to have all the answers. Your heart might have raced, your palms felt sweaty, or maybe you struggled to focus on what was being said. This happens because of a surge in cortisol, the body's stress hormone. While cortisol is helpful in short bursts, chronic stress can impair your memory, reduce your ability to concentrate, and even shrink the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for learning and memory. So, what does this have to do with playing dumb? Here's where it gets fascinating. Studies show that when we allow ourselves to admit that we don't know everything, it reduces stress dramatically. Why? Because we're no longer fighting against reality. Instead, we're embracing a mindset of curiosity and growth, which sends a signal to the brain that it's safe to relax and absorb new information. In other words, when you stop pretending to know it all, your brain actually performs better. Let me share an analogy to simplify this. Imagine your brain is like a sponge. When you're relaxed and open to learning, the sponge is soft and absorbent, ready to soak up new information. But when you're stressed or trying to prove yourself, that sponge hardens, making it much harder for anything new to get in. By playing dumb, you allow the sponge to soften again, making it easier to adapt, learn, and grow. Now, let's talk about the social side of this equation. Have you ever noticed that people respond differently to you when you approach a situation with genuine curiosity rather than certainty? This isn't just a coincidence, it's actually rooted in psychology. Experts call this the power of humility. When you admit that you don't have all the answers, it creates a sense of trust and openness in your relationships. People feel more comfortable sharing their own thoughts and experiences with you, which can lead to deeper connections and less conflict. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Admitting that you don't know something doesn't just improve your relationships, it can also protect your health. According to a study published in the journal Psychological Science, people who approach life with a sense of curiosity and openness are more likely to live longer, healthier lives. Why? Because they experience lower levels of stress, have stronger social connections, and are more willing to adapt to life's inevitable changes. Think about that for a moment. By simply letting go of the pressure to always have the answers, you're not just improving your mental health, you're potentially adding years to your life. And the best part? This mindset shift doesn't require any fancy tools or techniques. It's something you can start practicing today. But wait, why do so many of us struggle to embrace this idea? Why does admitting we don't know something feel so uncomfortable? The answer lies in something called ego preservation. You see, for decades, maybe even your whole life, you've been conditioned to equate your worth with your knowledge and achievements. Society has told us that being seen as smart, capable, and in control is the key to respect and admiration. And while there's nothing wrong with being knowledgeable, the truth is that tying your self-worth to always having the answers can lead to unnecessary stress and even harm your well-being. This is where unlearning comes into play. Just as we've spent years learning to value certainty, we can also learn to embrace curiosity and humility. It's not about being dumb in the literal sense. It's about recognizing that there's strength in not knowing. It's about seeing every moment as an opportunity to learn, connect, and grow without fear of judgment. In fact, some of the most successful people in the world swear by this mindset. Albert Einstein once said, "The more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know," and he's not alone. Many researchers and thought leaders agree that a curious, open mind is one of the greatest assets we can have, not just in our youth, but throughout our entire lives. So, how does this all tie back to you? It's simple. The next time you find yourself in a situation where you feel pressured to prove something, whether it's during a conversation, a family gathering, or even a routine doctor's visit, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what would happen if I simply admitted I didn't know and asked a question instead? You might be surprised at how much lighter you feel, and how much more you gain from the experience. And don't worry, if you're wondering how to put this into practice, we've got you covered. In the next section, we'll share simple, actionable tips that will help you embrace this new mindset, reduce stress, and improve your overall well-being. But before we move on, let me ask you this. Have you ever experienced a moment where admitting you didn't know something led to a positive outcome? If so, share your story in the comments. Your experience might just inspire someone else to take the first step on their journey too. Now that we understand why it's important to let go of the pressure to always have the answers, let's dive into some practical strategies to help you embrace this mindset. These tips are designed to reduce stress, improve your relationships, and open the door to lifelong learning and growth. Let's get started. Tip No. 1. Embrace the power of curiosity. The first and perhaps most transformative step is to shift from a mindset of knowing to a mindset of curiosity. Think of curiosity as your superpower. Instead of feeling pressured to have all the answers, focus on asking thoughtful questions. When you do this, you create space for learning and connection. For example, let's say you're at a doctor's appointment. Instead of nodding along and pretending to understand every medical term, ask questions like, "Can you explain that in simpler terms?" Or, "What does this mean for my daily life?" This not only helps you make better decisions, but also shows your doctor that you're engaged and invested in your health. And guess what? Most professionals appreciate curiosity. It makes their job easier too. The effect? Reduce stress because you're no longer pretending to understand something you don't. And over time, this habit builds confidence as you become more informed and empowered. Try this in everyday conversations too. Instead of feeling the need to offer advice or prove a point, simply say, "That's interesting. Tell me more." You'll be amazed at how this opens up richer, more meaningful dialogues with your loved ones. Tip No. 2. Practice saying, "I don't know." Music shifts to a reflective tone. This might feel uncomfortable at first, but one of the simplest ways to reduce unnecessary stress is by practicing the phrase, "I don't know." It's a small but powerful act of humility that frees you from the burden of pretending. And here's the best part, it's not a sign of weakness. In fact, it's a sign of strength. Pause briefly for reflection. Here's a scenario. Imagine you're in a family discussion about a news topic you're not familiar with. Instead of jumping in with guesses or opinions, try saying, "I'm not sure about that. Can you tell me more?" Not only does this reduce the pressure on you, but it also invites others to share their perspectives, creating a more open and engaging conversation. The benefit? You build trust and respect. People around you will see you as someone who values truth and learning over pride. And let's be honest, it feels much lighter to admit when you don't know something than to carry the weight of trying to fake it. Tip No. 3. Reframe mistakes as opportunities. Here's a truth we all need to hear. Making mistakes is a part of life, and a big part of learning. But somewhere along the way, many of us started associating mistakes with failure or embarrassment. It's time to change that narrative. Think of a time when you tried something new and didn't get it right on the first try. Maybe it was learning a new app on your phone, attempting a new recipe, or even tackling a home project. How did it feel? Probably a little frustrating. But think about what happened after you figured it out. There was likely a sense of accomplishment, maybe even pride. That's the beauty of mistakes. They teach us what doesn't work, so we can get closer to what does. To put this into practice, the next time you make a mistake, pause and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? For example, if you accidentally overcook dinner, it's an opportunity to experiment with timing or heat levels next time. Or if you forget a detail in a conversation, it's a chance to practice writing things down or focusing on active listening. The result? Over time, this mindset shift makes you more resilient and less afraid to try new things, which keeps your brain sharp and your spirit adventurous. Tip No. 4. Surround yourself with a learning mindset. Another way to embrace this new approach is by surrounding yourself with people and environments that encourage curiosity and growth. Think of it as creating a supportive bubble where it's okay to admit what you don't know and explore new ideas. For instance, you might join a local book club or take a class on something you've always wanted to learn, like painting or gardening. These settings naturally encourage questions and discussions, and they remove the pressure of being right. Or consider spending time with children or grandchildren. Kids are naturally curious. They ask endless questions without fear of judgment. Watching them can be a powerful reminder that it's okay to not know everything. In fact, it's part of the joy of discovery. The benefit? You'll feel less isolated and more connected to others who share your curiosity, which boosts your emotional and mental well-being. Tip No. 5. Take small breaks from responsibility. Finally, remember that it's okay to take a step back and let others take the lead. You've spent years being the problem solver, the decision maker, the person everyone relies on. And while that's a testament to your strength, it's also okay to share the load. For example, the next time your family gathers, instead of organizing everything yourself, ask someone else to take charge of planning. Or if you're part of a community group, let someone else lead the discussion while you participate as a listener. These small moments of stepping back can feel incredibly freeing. The effect? You'll not only reduce stress, but you'll also give others the chance to grow and contribute, and who knows, you might even find new joy in simply observing and appreciating the moment. Bringing it all together. So let's recap. Start by embracing curiosity. Ask questions instead of striving for answers. Practice saying, "I don't know," and let go of the need to prove yourself. Reframe mistakes as opportunities to learn. Surround yourself with supportive people and environments that encourage growth. And finally, take small breaks from responsibility to focus on simply enjoying life. Each of these steps might feel small, but together they create a powerful shift. By letting go of the need to always be right or in control, you'll gain something even more valuable: peace of mind, stronger relationships, and the freedom to truly enjoy your golden years. In the next part of this video, we'll tackle some common myths that might be holding you back, and we'll debunk them with science-backed insights. Stay tuned. Now that we've explored practical strategies to embrace curiosity and let go of unnecessary pressure, let's address some common myths about the idea of playing dumb or admitting you don't know something. These misconceptions can hold us back from adopting a healthier, more open mindset, but don't worry, we're here to set the record straight. Myth number 1. Admitting I don't know makes me look weak. This is one of the most pervasive myths out there. Many people believe that admitting ignorance in any situation is a sign of weakness or incompetence, but here's the truth. It's actually the opposite. According to Dr. Brené Brown, a renowned researcher in vulnerability and leadership, showing humility and being honest about your limitations are key indicators of strength. Why? Because it takes courage to be vulnerable and open to learning. Think of some of the most respected leaders in history. Many of them were lifelong learners who embraced not knowing as an opportunity to grow. Being willing to ask questions and admit gaps in your knowledge shows confidence, not weakness. So the next time you're hesitant to admit you don't know something, remind yourself, it's not a sign of failure. It's a sign of self-assuredness and a commitment to growth. Myth number 2. I'm too old to start asking questions. How many times have you thought, it's too late for me to learn something new? Or, people expect me to have all the answers at this stage of life. Let me stop you right there. This belief couldn't be further from the truth. Science tells us that the human brain is remarkably adaptable, even as we age. This concept is known as neuroplasticity. Simply put, your brain can continue to form new connections and learn new things well into your golden years. In fact, staying curious and asking questions is one of the best ways to keep your mind sharp. Take the story of Barbara, a 72-year-old woman who decided to start learning Spanish. She began by asking her grandchildren simple questions about words and phrases. Not only did this strengthen her bond with her family, but it also gave her a newfound sense of purpose. Today, she's conversational in Spanish, and she says it's one of the most rewarding things she's ever done. Remember, curiosity isn't about age, it's about mindset, and it's never too late to embrace a learning mindset. Myth number 3. If I admit I don't know, people will lose respect for me. This myth often stems from a fear of judgment. You might worry that if you admit you don't know something, people, especially younger generations, will think less of you. But here's the reality. Most people respect honesty far more than false confidence. A study published in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology found that people who openly admit their limitations are perceived as more authentic and trustworthy. And trust? It's the foundation of any strong relationship, whether it's with your family, friends, or even your healthcare providers. Think about this. If someone close to you admitted they didn't know something, would you think less of them? Or would you respect their honesty and feel more comfortable offering help or guidance? Chances are you'd feel closer to them. The same principle applies to you. When you let go of the fear of judgment, you create space for deeper connections and mutual respect. And let's face it, nobody knows everything. Being honest about it is one of the most relatable and human things you can do. Myth number 4. Curiosity is for kids, not seniors. Finally, let's tackle this myth head-on. The idea that curiosity is something we outgrow. If anything, curiosity becomes more important as we age. Studies show that seniors who remain curious and engaged with the world around them tend to have better mental health, lower rates of cognitive decline, and even longer lifespans. Curiosity keeps your brain active, your heart open, and your life full of possibilities. So the next time someone tells you, "Why bother asking questions now?" respond with a smile and say, "Because life's too short not to stay curious." Your curiosity is a gift, not just to yourself, but to everyone around you. By addressing these myths, I hope you feel more confident and inspired to embrace this new approach. Remember, admitting you don't know something isn't just okay. It's one of the smartest things you can do for your health, relationships, and overall happiness. Now, in the final segment, we'll wrap everything up with an inspiring message and a story to leave you feeling motivated. You don't want to miss it. Stay with us. As we come to the end of this journey, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've uncovered together. The pressure to always appear confident, knowledgeable, and in control can be overwhelming, especially when the world around us seems to demand it. But here's the truth. Letting go of that pressure doesn't make you less capable. It makes you human. And it opens the door to a life that's lighter, more connected, and filled with possibilities. Think about this. Imagine an older gentleman named Rajesh. For years, he felt the need to be the go-to person for his family. Whenever there was a problem, he'd jump in with solutions, even when he wasn't sure if they were right. Over time, the weight of always knowing it all started to wear him down. He felt isolated, stressed, and sometimes even resentful. But one day, Rajesh decided to take a different approach. Instead of offering advice or pretending to have all the answers, he started asking questions. He listened more, admitted when he didn't know something, and even began exploring new hobbies, like learning how to play the guitar. At first, it felt strange, even uncomfortable. But soon Rajesh noticed a shift. His family appreciated his honesty and curiosity. His grandchildren loved teaching him new things. And for the first time in years, Rajesh felt a sense of freedom, a reminder that it's okay to let go and embrace life as a student. Rajesh's story is one we can all relate to, and the lesson here is simple. You don't need to have all the answers. In fact, stepping back, admitting you don't know, and staying curious can transform your relationships, your mental health, and your sense of purpose. So what's next for you? Maybe it's asking a question you've always been too afraid to ask. Maybe it's trying something new, like taking a class or learning a skill you've always been curious about. Or maybe it's simply giving yourself permission to say, "I don't know, but I'd love to find out." Whatever it is, remember, every step you take is a step toward a lighter, brighter, and more fulfilling life. Now let's embrace the gift of curiosity, one question at a time. Thank you for joining me today, and remember, life doesn't stop teaching, so don't stop learning. In the final segment, I'll share how you can stay connected and part of this journey with me, so stick around. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. If you found this video helpful or inspiring, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps more people discover this message. And while you're at it, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on more tips, stories, and insights designed just for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever experienced the freedom of letting go of the need to have all the answers? Or maybe you've tried one of the tips we shared today? Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one, and your experience might just inspire someone else. And remember, if you know someone who could benefit from this, share this video with them. Let's spread the message that it's okay to embrace curiosity and enjoy the journey of learning. Thanks again for being here, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.